Hi, I'm former Eagles punter Sean Landetta, and you're watching CI TV.
Hello and welcome to another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. It's Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. We're at Facenda Whitaker Lanes in East Norriton, Pennsylvania for Suburban 1 American Girls Bowling featuring the North Penn Lady Knights and the Plymouth Whitemarsh Lady Colonials. This match could mean a lot for both teams as the season progresses. North Penn currently first in Suburban 1 American at 30-6. PW is fourth at 21-15. North Penn is coached by Don Stanicki. PW, Jeff Blizzard. North Penn in powder blue on the right lane, starting off as Annalie Switzer. Lauren Cosgrave will be PW's leadoff. She'll be on the left lane for the Lady Colonials. Cosgrave starts it off well for PW with a strike. Plymouth Whitemarsh coming off of a 3-1 win against the Quakertown Panthers at Earlville, Quakertown. Switzer cannot convert. The split. Now there's Brooklyn Hosses for Plymouth Whitemarsh. She'll knock down 8. Jennifer Snyder will be on the right lane for North Penn. Snyder averaging 139.89 with a 201 high game and a 483 high series. She'll leave the 5. Haas's second ball is square. So a strike and a spare in the first frame of Game 1 for PW. We'll be bowling 3 games with 10 frames each. After the third game, we'll tally up all the scores, and the cumulative total will be the 4th game. After Snyder will be Katie Cook, Allison Cox, and Jocelyn Wincoop. And Snyder converts a 1-pin spare. There's Destiny Wilson, who qualified for Eastern PA Regionals last season for Plymouth Whitemarsh, and she has to deal with a 3-10 split. Katie Cook knocks down all 10 for North Penn's first strike. Wilson visualizing how she'll get the 3 and 10. Wilson this season averaging 125.22. Oh, that 3-pin wiggled just by an inch. Didn't budge. PW first miss of the game, and it's all 10 for Allison Cox. Nikki Alexander will be in the left lane for PW, and anchor Jocelyn Wincoop will be in the right lane for the Lady Knights. Not a good start for Alexander. It's a first ball gutter. This is a match PW needs to get some wins. The Lady Colonials actually alive right now for a wild card berth for Eastern PA Regionals. 2 teams that do not get first or second in Suburban 1 National and American with pinfall. We'll get it, and Wincoop with 2 hands knocks down all 10. 3 strikes, a spare, and an open for the Lady Knights in the first frame, and Alexander gets a 9 count on her second. Back-to-back opens for PW. It's 49-38 North Penn in the first frame. Lee Ashley Newell, 157.33 average, a sophomore. Jocelyn Wincoop, by the way, currently number 2 in the conference in average at 170.04. It was a good ball for Newell. Will be PW's first 1-pin spare opportunity. Nicely done for Newell. PW, 1 strike, 2 spares, 2 opens, 1 for 1 on 1 pin spares. It's 49-48 North Penn after 1. Jocelyn Wincoop, senior anchor for North Penn, by the way, had led the league in average the last few seasons. This year she's number 2 behind Kelsey Mannon of Penridge, who's at 198.67. All 10 for Lauren Cosgrave. She's got back-to-back jacks. As Annalie Switzer, who couldn't convert a split, her first frame, now in the second, dealing with the 1 free and 8 pins. Programming note, we originally intended on bringing you North Penn at Plymouth Whitemarsh Boys Bowling today, but we decided to do the girls match instead due to potential implications in terms of ranking down the road. Switzer, back-to-back opens, only got 2 on her second ball. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Hossis has a 6 count on the right lane as Jennifer Snyder now in the left lane for North Penn and gets all of them down. Spare and a strike for Snyder, who is 11th right now in terms of eligible bowlers in Suburban 1 American on average at 139.89, but number 13 overall if you include all the bowlers. Hossis got 3 out of 4, that's an open. Katie Cook, meanwhile, after her first frame strike, knocked down only the 10. Not long ago, North Penn actually won a snow roller invitational with Jocelyn Wincoop. Here's Destiny Wilson on the right lane for PW. And she got all 10 on the jersey. And it's an open for Katie Cook. So right now it's 96-93 North Penn as we head into our 4 holes. Last 3 years it's either been Penridge, North Penn, or Abington at the top of the standings. Good ball for Allison Cox. She has back-to-back jacks. She's at 30 and counting. Nikki Alexander for PW will be on the right lane, and Jocelyn Wincoop, the senior for North Penn, on the left. So a concern for her, as a sophomore, she averaged a little over 191. Last year, 177.88. Alexander on the second diamond. It was a better ball than her first. Gets an 8 count. You don't see too many girls do 2 hands, and she perfected that. Wincoop did not used to be a 2-hander, and now she's got back-to-back jacks. It's another 3 strikes for North Penn, no spares, 2 opens. Alexander converts. Shakes off that bad first frame. We're still in the second frame of game 1. North Penn 136, PW 103. Hampero Horsham currently second by a game over Abington in Suburban 1 American. Newell gets 9. The top 2 teams from both Suburban 1 American and Suburban 1 National will qualify for Eastern PA Regionals, scheduled March 2nd at 222 Dutch Lanes in Ephrata. But then the 2 highest averages who didn't already qualify from National and American will get in. And Newell gets her second spare and has many opportunities. A good frame for PW, 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open. PW so far 2 for 2 on 1-pin spares. Lauren Cosgrave has a split. The same split as Destiny Wilson did in the first frame, the free 10. Lane 42 to the right side, Annalise Switzer left the free. Lauren Cosgrave this season averaging 131.59. Switzer at 118.04 with a 190 high game in conference play. And Switzer so far open, 27 and counting through free. Cosgrave gets both. PW 1 for 2 on splits. And Cosgrave strike, and spare. Jennifer Snyder will knock down 8. Now Brooklyn Haas's on the left side. One issue Haas's had in the January 14th 3-1 win at Quakertown was adjusting to the lane. Each lane has different conditions. Oil could be all over the lanes. And she did not adjust properly. Back-to-back open frames for Brooklyn Haas's. 31 and counting in the third frame of game 1. That's not going to hit it for Snyder, her first open frame. Right now, the top 10 averages in Suburban 1 American are from 143.48 to 198.67. However, 2 of the bowlers in the top 10 have not bowled enough games up to this point to qualify for regionals. And now Katie Kook will knock down everything. 2 strikes for her. Give her 38 and counting. Right now it's 171 for North Penn, 172 for PW. The Lauren Cosgrave split conversion right now the difference. Destiny Wilson dealing with the 2 and 4 pins. Wilson qualified for regionals last year as an at-large by doing well at the Suburban 1 American tournament. Fortunately, she could not get any of the pins. That's an open for her. Now here's Allison Cox. Cannot get the turkey. She's at 54 and counting, having to deal with the 6 and 10. 195 to 172 North Penn before Alexander. That's a really good ball, and the 10 wouldn't budge. And that's in the gutter for Cox, her first open. Now we'll bring up Jocelyn Wincoop, who has won 600 series this year and only a handful of 200 games. The last 2 years combined had 24 200 or more games in conference play. Alexander misses on the 1-pin spare.
Good, Adrian.
Now Wincoop going for a turkey. And that is a turkey for Wincoop. So far adjusting properly to Facenda Whitaker with the 2-handed approach. Now Ashley Newell on back-to-back spares. And the 10 won't budge for her. PW so far in game 1. 2 for 3 on 1-pin spares. North Penn right now is 1 for 2 on 1-pin spares. North Penn's at 225. PW at 208 before Newell has her spare opportunity. Before we'll head to the 4th frame of game 1. Oh, it hangs in there all right. And Ashley Newell with 3 frames, 3 spares. PW, that frame had no strikes, 2 spares, 3 opens, and how about 1 for 1 on split conversion, 1 for 2 on 1-pin spares. Fourth frame now, here's Cosgrave. And now Annalie Switzer gets 7 on her first ball in the fourth frame for North Penn. Cosgrave coming off of that split conversion in the third frame of this game. Went too far right, not enough spin. That's her first open frame. Switzer gets nothing. 4 frames, 4 opens. She's at 34 and counting. Now here's Hasses. Really good ball. Leaves the 10, and it'll be PW's 5th one-pin spare opportunity. PW hasn't had a strike since Destiny Wilson in frame 2. Jennifer Snyder leaves the 6 and 10. And Hasses did not go cross alley. That's her third straight open. It's 240 to 232. North Penn in the fourth. And North Penn is first place in the division by 1 game entering the match. 1 game over Hatboro Horsham, a surprise second place team right now. And Snyder misses a huge chance. Gets nothing on the second ball. Destiny Wilson shakes her head after leaving the 4 and 7. Katie Cook. Another good ball. Has to deal with just the 8 on the left lane for North Penn and Powder Blue. Powder Blue in the past used to be the color in postseason competition like the league championships, Eastern PA regionals, and the state tournament. I don't believe North Penn girls has ever qualified a team. The states qualified for regionals quite a few times. Good adjustment. Oh, only got 1 and a 2. That's another open frame for her. But Katie Cook gets the spare. It's 260 to 241. North Penn in the fourth. Alexander really could use a strike now. Really good ball, and that 10 won't budge again. Now we're having PW's 6 one-pin spare opportunity. Allison Cox, meanwhile, had a lot of spin to the right side. She's to deal with the 1 and 8. Or so we think. Alexander misses on that. PW has opened in each of the first 4 bowlers this frame. And that's actually going to be a 9 spare for Allison Cox. 2 for 2 this frame, North Penn on 1-pin spares. Newell needs good amount here. Knocks down 8. This is a bad frame for PW. We'll see if the Lady Colonials could overcome it as this game progresses. Two-hander Jocelyn Wincoop will look to get the game's first clover. That was not a really good ball. That spun too far to the right. 4 count for Wincoop. Newell gets the job done. She has 4 spares and 4 frames. She has 66 and counting. It's 282 to 268 North Penn, pending the Wincoop roll. And then we'll go to the 5th frame. Wincoop knocks them down. No strikes. 3 spares, 2 opens. North Penn is 3 for 4 on 1-pin spares. 5th frame now with Switzer. North Penn averaging .659 this season, PW 649 in conference play. Cosgrave. The bowlers right now looking to rush the ball. Don't need a rush. Cosgrave at a 74 and counting. Switzer second ball. Money. That's her first mark. North Penn bowls at Earl Bowl in Arlington, Pennsylvania. Finished with a 2 and 7. Cosgrave with her second straight open. 81 and counting through 5. Jennifer Snyder now. Not an easy split. Brooklyn Haasas gets a 7 count. On the left side. It's a 6-7-10 split for Jennifer Snyder. Right approach, but only got 2. It's 313 to 284 North Penn. Haasas needs this. Haasas isn't visualizing properly right now. EW, 6 opens in the last 7 bowlers. Katie Cuck, meanwhile, knocks down 7, leaving the 1 free and 6 pins. Destiny Wilson in the left lane. I'm not sure if it's just the bowlers or if the lanes are not kind right now in terms of the oil shifts. Misses the head pin. And Katie Cuck opens. Wilson taking her time. It's 329 to 291 North Penn. Gets it done! When you take your time, you can visualize and convert. That's 54 and counting for the PW free hole. Allison Cox now. Strike, strike, open, spare. Cox this season averaging 132.41 in the conference. That's a really good ball. Really good ball. And that's her third strike.
Must be pizza.
349 to 294 North Penn. Before Jocelyn Wincoop, Nikki Alexander. Finally hits the head pin, but gets 7. Looks like the left lane right now is causing some problems. Wincoop leaves the 10. Wincoop's high game this season, 250. He has 3 200 games, 4 500 series. Alexander with her second spare. You have her 56 and counting. Wincoop right now in 102 and counting. It's been a difficult season for Wincoop. Someone who was known for getting double-digit strikes a season the past few seasons. It's not going to hang in there. That's the first open frame for Wincoop. North Penn that time, 1 strike, 1 spare, 3 opens. 0 for 1 on splits. And also 0 for 1 on 1 pins. 3 for 5 right now on 1 pins. Newell leaves the 10. Looking for her 5th straight spare. It's 367 to 322 North Penn through 5 in game 1. PW has 4 conference matches left after this one. Cosgrave looked like it might have slipped. Fortunate to get a 6 count, though. Jeff Blizzard giving instruction, and Newell. Well, it is 5 for 5 on spares. PW got 3 spares in the 5th frame. No strikes, 2 opens. On 1 pin spares, 1 for 1. W right now, 4 for 6. Actually, 4 for 7 on 1 pin spares. Good ball for Lauren Cosgrave. Gets the spares. He's at 91 and counting in the 6th frame. 367 to 333 North Penn. Annalise Switzer. And we'll have her turn next. Ossis will get 5 pins. Not the result she wanted. Now Switzer. The pins wiggle, but won't budge. Brooklyn Ossis now. The second ball. Much better. And she is rewarded. 5 straight spares for PW bowlers. After 1 point, opening in 6 of 7 individual frames. So PW making up some ground. Switzer second. We'll just get 1 of the 2. Her 5th open in 6 frames. 61 and counting for Annalise Switzer, through 6 frames of game 1. Destiny Wilson will be on the right lane. She'll knock down 8. A 7 count for Jennifer Snyder. So right now in the Suburban 1 wild card situation, Abington as the first wild card at a 711 average. William Tennant of Suburban 1 National 691, second, currently 3rd place in the National Conference behind Neshaminy. Tennant's at 21 and 7. Neshaminy is 26 and 6. Bowled 1 more match though. Good conversion for Destiny Wilson, and PW with 6 straight spares. PW has not recorded a strike since Wilson in the 2nd frame, though. But PW is still in it, down 391 to 361. The next 2 bowlers for PW got spares in the 5th frame. Here's Snyder's 2nd. Money. It's her 3rd mark in 6 frames, give her 73 and counting. 394, 361 North Penn. Nikki Alexander going outside. She was robbed there. You cannot be flustered for these situations. Katie Cook left to deal with the 3 and 8 pins. PW 4 and 7 so far on 1 pins, and now 4 for 8. That 10 pin, it's been the nasty one so far, and that's going to be nothing doing for Katie Cook. Katie Cook, by the way, this is only her 2nd conference game of the season, and her lone appearance at a 123. Right now, Ashley Newell is waiting for North Penn boys to get off the lane. The PW North Penn boys varsity match is to the right of our lanes. Allison Cox nearly got all pins without initially hitting the head. Newell is finally rewarded with a strike. It's PW's first strike since the second frame. 1 strike, 3 spares, and open for the Lady Colonials. PW at 399, North Penn at 420 though. And that's an open for Cox. Back-to-back open frames for the Lady Knights of Lansdale. Annalie Switzer will begin the 7th frame on the right side, and she gets everything for her first 10 count of the contest. Wincoop, though, has to finish the 6th frame for North Penn. On the left side, lane 41. Wincoop on a 9 open, though. 3 strikes, a spare, and an open, 102 and counting. It's 430 to 399. And all goes down. Meanwhile, Jennifer Snyder rolls the third straight strike for the Lady Knights. Now in the 7th frame. So it's 460 to 399 Lady Knights. Cosgrave now right down the middle. Fortunately, she has the 4-7. Katie Cook leaves the 5. 91 and counting for her. The news is Cosgrave is on a spare, so a spare here will help PW's cause. PW has only 4 strikes in the game, and we're in the 7th frame. North Penn has 12. So, not having strikes right now could really be hurting the Lady Colonials. Good ball. And it is a 2-pin spare for Cosgrave. So she's at 109 and counting. Not down the middle for Katie Cook. Her 3rd straight open. Brooklyn Haasses is still having trouble hitting the head pin. She gets 5. Here's Allison Cox. Knocks down 7. Some of these bowlers are spitting the ball a little bit too much. Haasses will only get a pair. That's her 5th open frame. She's at 69 and counting. And that's only going to be 2 of 3 for Cox. Her 3rd open. 101 and counting. 478 to 429 North Penn in the 7th. Destiny Wilson. Gets 7. Wincoop, the defending Suburban 1 American Tournament champion. She won 1st place, I believe, at Facenda Whitaker in 2018. Destiny Wilson made top 5 as well, if I'm not mistaken. Wincoop won with a 617. Sierra Daling of Abington was 2nd at 610. Wilson was 3rd at 552. Gets a 7 count. And perhaps rolling two-handed is why her average is lower than the past few seasons. Wilson converts for the 3rd straight frame. 490 to 446. Lady Knights in the 7th frame of game 1. Wincoop looking to pick it up. And she picks up the 4. It was a 6 and 4. 2 strikes. 1 spare, 2 opens. 0 for 1. On 1-pin spares. Now here's Alexander, and she knocks down 7. Right now, 3 for 7. North Penn is on 1 pin spares. Alexander now. Is it going to be enough? No. Too much spin. And it's 83 and counting. It's 498 to 455. North Penn, however, PW anchor Ashley Newell so far, 5 spares and a strike. Looks like it's going to be on her to drive the Lady Colonials in the upward direction. Jersey strike, and it is a double for Newell. 498 to 475, North Penn entering the 8th frame of game 1. That was just the 5th strike of the game for PW. 1 strike, 2 spares, 2 opens. And it will be a split for Switzer on the left side. There's Cosgrave. It's down the middle. And she's got a split as well. 6-8-10. Head coach Jeff Blizzard, his 15th season, telling Lauren Cosgrave to go for 2. Nicely done for Switzer. That's the first split conversion for North Penn. 1 of 3 on splits. He's got 91 and counting. Good job for Lauren Cosgrave. Got the 2 Blizzard wanted her to get. Snyder will leave a pin. Brooklyn Hosses now is in need of a strike. It's 536 to 491 Lady Knights. Here's the problem. She's rolling it to the second diamond to the right. It's not spinning. It's not turning. Hosses needs to realize that the lanes are not being kind right now. Snyder gets her 1 pin spare. So right now, 4 of 8 on 1 pin spares. North Penn is. Hosses, a little bit too quick on that, gets nothing. It's 538 to 497. North Penn in the 8th. Now it's Katie Cook. Cook rolls it to the right side. Knocks down 3. Here's Wilson. Wilson knocks down 8. So right now North Penn has 12 strikes, 9 spares, and a handful of opens. It's an open frame for Katie Cook. That's her 5th. That's the 17th open right now for North Penn. Looking good. And Wilson has her 4th straight spare. Give her 107 and counting in the 8th frame of game 1. 5:45, 5:15, North Penn. We're Plymouth Whitemarsh here in Suburban One American Girls Bowling action. Jersey, but not a strike. It was 16.6 miles per hour on that roll. Here's Alexander. Alexander knocks down 7. Has steal of 3, 6, and 10. That's in the... No, that just avoided the gutter. It's a 1-pin make. 5 of 9 now on 1-pin spares, North Penn is. And it's 5:55 to 5:22. Jocelyn Wincoop, the anchor, in powder blue on the left side. CITV covered North Penn PW girls 3 years ago, and Wincoop was a freshman. She was the 4-hole in that contest. I believe Danielle Godshaw was the anchor for North Penn at the time. A lot of spin, only knocked down 7, Wincoop. Alexander, too much spin to the right. And Jeff Blizzard is definitely taking notes. That's Alexander's 3rd straight miss. It's 569 to 522 North Penn. Wincoop on the left side. Ashley Newell on a double. Will be on the right side for PW. Oh, only gets 2 of the free. So 3 spares and 2 opens. No strikes. 2 of 2 on 1 pin spares. Newell. Whoa boy. That's a 4-7-10. It's better than a 7-10. Now Newell is going to go for 2. That's her first open, though, of the contest, but she got 2. She's at 150 and counting, entering 9. Cosgrave will start the 9th with a 6 count. Right now it's 571 to 553 North Penn in frame 9 of game 1. PW in the 8th frame had no strikes, 1 spare, and 4 opens. It is going to be a 7 count for Switzer on the right side. Cosgrave will only knock down the 3, the 2, 4, and 7. So she has her 4th open. It's 134 and counting through 9. 585 to 556 North Penn. And that will help for North Penn. 3rd straight mark for Switzer. Annalise Switzer at 108 and counting. Haas is finally down the middle. Still looking for her first strike. Has to deal with the 5 and 9 pins. Jennifer Snyder will be on the right lane. Something the coaches need to think about is whether or not they should make substitutions. Entering the 2nd game, you are allowed to substitute players from game to game. Haas misses a huge opportunity. And she's at 83 and counting. Jen Snyder knocks down 9. Right now 5 and 9 on 1 pin spares. PW is 4 and 8 on 1 pin spares. Here's Destiny Wilson. Avoids a free pin split. And that was a good ball for Jennifer Snyder, who has 4 straight marks. Give her 132 and counting in 9. 607 to 580. It's still a close match so far. Although the bowlers after Destiny Wilson, Alexander and Newell did not mark. And that's only a 1 out of 2 for Wilson. That's 5 straight opens for PW. 7 count for Katie Cuck on the right side. So this season in Suburban 1 American, 10 of 15 regional participants from the league last year return. 2 of the 5 at-large qualifiers this season from last season have returned. Sierra Daling of Abington and Destiny Wilson. So there's a lot of veteran presence. It was an 8-1 for Wilson. And it's a 9 count for Alexander as Cook converts the spare. That's 13 spares right now, I believe, for North Penn. How about Alexander getting her first mark since the 5th frame? Allison Cox with a 6 count on lane 42. Right now PW 5 of 9 on 1 pin spares. And it's a 9 count for Newell. Nicely done for Cox. Did the correct approach. 4 straight spares for North Penn bowlers at 633 to 600 Lady Knights in the anchor leg of frame 9 of game 1. Newell will knock it down, has 8 marks in 9 frames. She's at 160 and counting, looking for her first 200 game of the season. 633 to 601 North Penn. I think right now PW 6 of 10 on 1 pin spares. It is a tough one, 6-7 split for Jocelyn Wincoop. Right now it's 641 to 601 North Penn heading into the final frame of game 1. Wincoop will knock down just the 6. Her third open. So no strikes, 4 spares, and open. North Penn right now is 1 for 4 on split. 10 frame, you can get a maximum of 3 balls per bowler, and it is a strike out of the gate for Annalie Switzer. Cosgrave will get a 9 count. Right now, every PW bowler really needs to mark. PW averaging 649 on the season. PW needs to get above that average. Second ball for Switzer is a 7. So she'll have 1 more. Looks like Cosgrave's going to have 1 more ball. So it's a spare for her. She's at 144 and counting. 669, 611 North Penn over Plymouth Whitemarsh. On the varsity boys circuit, North Penn boys defeated Plymouth Whitemarsh 973 to 881. And that is a 2 count. So it's a strike and an open. 137, first game for Annalie Switzer. And Cosgrave knocks down 9 on her bonus ball, 153, which is about 23 pins above her average. 23 pins. And it is a strike for Jennifer Snyder. That is North Penn's 14th.
Saddle, you want to wait on the guys? Saddle?
So North Penn right now, 14 strikes, 14 spares. Haas, a good ball, and fortunate that it wasn't a split. It's 691 to 629 North Penn. Good messenger there to avoid trouble with Snyder. She'll have a 1 pin spare opportunity. North Penn 5 of 9. Oh, and that is not good news for Haas. She'll finish with a 92. She averages 121.09. And that's going to be a 1 pin miss. That's 5 of 10 for North Penn. So that will be a 161 game for Snyder. Destiny Wilson. And she is unlucky. 132 and counting for her. Meanwhile, on the left lane, Katie Cook has a 1 count with a 110 and counting. North Penn over its average right now at 702. Averaging 659 with an 818 high game and the high series at 2091. PW's best series in conference play 2199. PW appears will get above its average this game. It's important. PW keeps getting pinfall.
There you go. Much better.
Much better ball, and then it is a 9-pin spare for Katie Cook. That is her 5th mark of game 1. I have a bonus ball. Wilson looks like she'll only get 1. 133 for Destiny Wilson. 7-11 to 638. So North Penn appears to take the first game and will be 31-6 on the season. And it's going to be a 1 spare 1 for Katie Cook, a 120.
Brooklyn.
That's going to be the 15th spare. As right now we go to our 4-hole bowlers in frame 10 of game 1, the final frame of the game.
The other team's been filling it out. We need to fill it out.
Right now 21 opens for North Penn.
Penn?
Alexander will leave 1. She's at 118. Her average is 142.73. Entering 12th in the rankings in the conference.
All right, out of trouble.
Out of trouble is Allison Cox, dealing with the 610. 728 to 656 North Penn. Alexander needs this. And it looks like he'll hang in there. Back-to-back spares.
Spare.
And that's the 20th spare of the game for PW.
All right, Allison.
And it is a 2-pin make
10, girl.
for Cox. Alexander's final ball of the first game is money. That's her first strike of the match. She finished with a 129. PW at 667, North Penn at 730. Final ball for Allison Cox, and she'll knock down 9. 164, solid first game. Here's Ashley Newell, PW's anchor. Out of trouble with an 8 count. She's at 176 and counting.
Come on, Jocelyn, finish strong.
Ashley Newell's season best is 182 in conference play. She could reach it with a spare and pinfall. There's Wincoop at a 157. And gets down everything. That's Wincoop's 5th strike of the game. North Penn's 15th. Newell gets them both. That's amazingly her 7th spare. She's at 178 and counting and could be going for a season high. PW's 21st spare. Surprisingly, about 6 strikes for the entire game. And that's a 9 count for Wincoop. Here's Newell's bonus. What a beauty. 188, that's her season high in conference play. As PW finishes with 695, North Penn at 758 and counting. PW with just 7 strikes in the first game. And that is a spare for Wincoop to finish with 177. So North Penn wins the first game 759 to 695. North Penn had 15 strikes, I believe 17 spares, and 21 opens. PW 7 strikes, 21 spares, and too many opens. It was 759 to 695. We are now in game 2 for North Penn PW. And Switzer begins with a 9 count, where North Penn wearing the powder blue shirts. Switzer in the first game had 137. North Penn in game 1 had 15 strikes, 17 spares, 21 opens. PW just 7 strikes, 21 spares, 24 opens. Each team converted at least one split. Here's Lauren Cosgrave, and she'll have to deal with her split. She had a 153 game in game 1, and it is a first frame open for Annalise Switzer. It's the 3-10 split for Lauren Cosgrave. By the way, PW made a bowler change. And it's going to be a 1-pin miss. Here's Jennifer Snyder. Right now it's Sarah Roshino. Roshino in for Brooklyn Haasas, gets a 9 count. Roshino has time on varsity this season. And there's a 7 and spare for Jennifer Snyder for North Penn. Roshino this season a 113 average, 145 high game, 375 high series. And Roshino can't raise it. Back-to-back opens for PW. That's a 7 count for Katie Cook. North Penn won the first game 759 to 695. PW doing its job, getting above its average. In the event that PW can't get first or second place in the conference right now, North Penn 31 and 6, PW 21 and 16. In the event that PW is able to come back and catch up to Abington, if Abington and PW happen to tie for, let's say, second, PW would get it based on the head-to-head. And Destiny Wilson gets the strike. That's only her second of the match.
Try, Katie.
Katie Cook going gets 2 of 3. She's at 9 for 1. We're in game 2, frame 1. We'll bowl 3 games. And we aren't that far away already from the Suburban One American tournament in a couple of weeks. And the top 10 individuals by average will qualify for Eastern PA singles on March 1st, if the circumstances permit, in Ephrata. Nikki Alexander with a free count. Did not have a good first game, a 129.
I love it. Come up.
Cox.
Come up, girl.
Allison Cox, fortunate to get 7. That was not a good ball. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry if you expected PW versus North Penn boys. We had a match change. And Alexander gets 5. That's PW's third open in 4 frame. Then 4 bowlers. And that is an open for Allison Cox as we now get into the anchor portion. It will be Ashley Newell on the right side for PW and Jocelyn Wincoop on the left for North Penn. And it will go down. Ashley Newell with her 4th straight of the match. And that's 46 for PW, 35 for North Penn. Here's the two-handed win coup. She'll leave, I believe, the 9. Quite curious why Jocelyn Wincoop decided to go on the two-handed approach. But at points, it has worked for her this season. It's a good start for Wincoop. So right now, it's 46-45 PW after one frame in Game 2. North Penn leading 1-0. It will be a 5 count. For Annalie Switzer. Cosgrave will knock down 8. Lauren Cosgrave, a 153 first game. Right down the middle. And only gets 4. So back-to-back opens for Switzer. Just like the first game, she started with 4 straight opens before recovering. And it's a 54-54 game early in Game 2. Cosgrave only gets 1 of 2. Back-to-back opens for her. And that is a strike for Jennifer Snyder. That's the first strike of Game 2 for North Penn. Here's Sarah Roshino. She was on junior varsity in Game 1 as Brooklyn Haasas had a 92 and Blizzard decided to take Haasas out. Roshino, a 3-10 split. Katie Cook knocks them down. Back-to-back strikes for North Penn. Roshino will knock down the 10.
Don't leave a coach hanging.
So back-to-back open frames for Sarah Roshino. It's 84-64 North Penn. Allison Cox. Jersey strike. 3 straight strikes for North Penn. 94-64 Lady Knights as the Lady Colonials have Destiny Wilson. And Rosa in the right gutter. Typically this season, teams have fared better in Game 2s as balls have adjusted to oil patterns. Just from Wincoop on the 9 spare. And that's another 9 count for her.
Bring it in, Jocelyn.
Much better ball. But Wilson will get 7. So 3 opens for PW, 3 bowlers in frame 2 of Game 2. Wincoop 2 for 2 on spares. Right now, 2 of 3. North Penn is on 1-pin spares. It'll be the 3 and 9 pins for Alexander, who's at 16 and counting. Alexander qualified for Eastern PA Regionals last season. Finished 98th out of 150 with a 793 5-game series. Ashley Newell was 91st out of 150 with 805. Destiny Wilson was 147th with a 627 5-game set. Alexander converts. And it's 113-88 North Penn as Ashley Newell on a strike off 188. Now if Newell can get a good amount of strings or strikes, maybe we'll witness PW's first 500 series. That's stubborn 10 pin. PW's high series for an individual bowler this season, 495 from Newell. That's in conference play. Only averages from conference play will factor into Eastern PA regional qualifying. It's got to hang in there, and it will. Newell had one open frame in the first game. And right now, a strike and a spare for her. EW had 2 spares, 3 opens, no strikes. EW was 1 for 1 on 1 pin spares. So Cosgrave with a 9 count. Oh, wicked strike for Annalise Switzer. It's her first mark of game 2. Give her 28 and counting. 123-117. North Penn. In the third frame of game 2. And this is right down the middle of the pin for the spare for Cosgrave. Jennifer Snyder with spare and strike for North Penn. She'll leave the 4-7. Here's Rashino. And she'll get an 8 count. For those of you wondering, the previous edition of CITV Sports on January 15th, Upper Dublin versus PW Swimming and Diving. I did not factor in diving scores for the overall team score, which is why I incorrectly stated the unofficial scores throughout the meet. Sorry about that. But as it turns out, PW still could have won the boys' meet if it would have come in, we believe, first and second place in the final event. Would have won by, I believe, 2 total points over Upper Dublin. Could not get the job done, though. Roshino could not get the job done here. Meanwhile, Snyder got the spare, and that's 6 straight marks for North Penn. An 8 count on the left side for Katie Cook, who had a 120 in the first game. And Katie Cook converts. It's the 7th straight mark for North Penn. It's 163-126 Lady Knights. W needs to catch up. Wilson. It's important that Destiny Wilson does not get splits. So far in this match, PW is 1 of 7 on splits. All 10. A double for Allison Cox. That's 5 strikes now for North Penn. Give Cox 37 and counting for the current first place team. That will do for Wilson. He'll bring up Jocelyn Wincoop on lane 41. Wincoop, of course, has fared well at Facenda Whitaker in the past. Of course, having claimed first place at the 2018 Suburban One American Tournament that was held here. Nikki Alexander knocks him down with authority. Her first strike of game 2 in the third frame. 38 and counting for Alexander. And that's right in the gutter. That's Wincoop's first open of the game, 45 and counting. Ashley Newell will conclude the third frame of game 2. North Penn 199, Plymouth Whitemarsh 156. The Lady Knights won 759 to 695 in game 1. Ashley Newell leaves the 4-pin. Newell's dad attending all of her matches. We'll give some support. Mr. Newell did the same thing when her brother Jake Newell was on PW varsity for the last 4 years. Jake Newell did not bowl during his junior year. He did as a senior. Is it going to hang in? Yes, it will. Good match so far for Newell. Just one open frame. She's at 49 and counting for 3. Fourth frame now in game 4. 199 to 175. Lady Knights over the Lady Colonials. Now Lauren Cosgrave gets her first strike since frame 2 of game 1. With her 48 and counting. Good ball for Switzer. She's got the double.
Big double.
48 and counting for her. The lanes are now acting kind for all the bowlers. Here's Washino. Jennifer Snyder on the right side. And she is feeling it. Her second strike. Lady Knights are heating up. Starting to look like the days of Gabby Varillo and Lauren Marone when they were on the team. That was 4 years ago now. Washino gets her first mark. Quick pace here for North Penn. It's a 6 count for Katie Cook. North Penn right now with 7 strikes to PW's 4. Destiny Wilson now on a spare. It's 251 to 205. And that is her second first ball gutter. She is having trouble adjusting to the left lane. 3 out of 4 for Cook. Her second open. That's 54 and counting for Katie Cook of North Penn wearing the powder blue. PW is not wearing the powder blue. North Penn during the regular season used to wear a darker shade of blue. But I've decided to stick with the powder blue as that's a 10 count spare for Wilson. Nice pickup. That's her third mark in 4 frames. Got her spare. Cox has the turkey. That's her first gobble gobble of the game. 67 and counting. Alexander on a strike. Cox high game this season, 176. 9 count here for Alexander. PW right now 3 of 4 on 1 pin spares. North Penn 2 of 3. Here's Jocelyn Wincoop, the North Penn anchor. 4 strikes in the frame for North Penn, and 1 open. Alexander does her job. 3 straight marks. Now Ashley Newell on a strike and 2 spares. Looking to give PW an open free frame. A strike and 3 spares. And that's how you get back in the match and the game. Here's Newell, and she has her second strike. Open free, 4th frame for PW, 2 strikes, 3 spares. That means PW has 255, North Penn with 294. 5th frame now in game 5. North Penn up by 39. Here's Cosgrave. Good cross alley. Gets 9. She's at 66 right now. Wow, Switzer. 17.7 miles per hour. Developing story in lanes 43 and 44. James Cardinal, the anchor for North Penn varsity boys. 6 strikes through 6 frames. Not surprised about that, considering he entered today with a 215 average. And the spare is successful. 3 straight marks for Cosgrave. Give her 68 and counting. And now it's 315 to 275 North Penn in the 5th frame of game 2. Nothing there for Switzer. Sarah Roshino. Those pins were faking about it. All she leaves is the 9. And that is back-to-back jacks for Jennifer Snyder. It's her 3rd strike. PW is 5 of 6, now 5 of 7 on 1-pin spares. It's a free count for Katie Cook. Destiny Wilson has 3 marks in 4 frames. The problem is she has not been able to master the left lane so far. That has given her trouble. He has 2 first ball gutters. Katie Cook, a strike, a spare, and 2 opens. Trying to convert here. Leaves 1 pin to 3rd open. And Wilson got 1. Here, Jeff Blizzard, I'm starting to get concerned. Hopefully everything's okay with Destiny Wilson. And Allison Cox thought she was robbed, and she was robbed of getting a clover. She was on 3 straight strikes. Wilson trying to get these 9. Oh, she only gets 7. So Wilson at 53 through 5 frames of game 2. 371 to 302 North Penn. And Allison Cox, 4 straight marks. That's North Penn's 6th spare of the game. Nikki Alexander can't get the jersey strike. In past seasons, PW's kryptonite have been converting the 7 pin. James Cardinal got a 9 count on his first ball in the 7th frame, so he'll have to wait one more game to see if he can get a free 100. Jocelyn Winku, but the last moment the pins fall. Back-to-back straights for the senior anchor for North Penn. Give her 75 and counting. 393, 320 North Penn through 5. Alexander, the bane of the match for her, has been at 10 pin. Right now, North Penn, 11 strikes, 6 spares, 8 opens. And Newell will get a 9 count. We'll see, as not only the season progresses, but her high school career, whether or not she could do what former Penridge anchor Jen Stevens did. Stevens graduated in 2014, 170s average her first year, and then 200s her next 3, and a couple of state tournament appearances. Newell's gonna graze it. Still only 1 open frame for her in the entire match. She has 3 spares and 2 strikes in this one. And it's 393 to 340 North Penn. Frame 6 of game 2 coming with Lauren Cosgrave. The Cosgrave, another 1 pin. Spare opportunity. And it's a 5 and 3 for Annalise Switzer. Cosgrave, though, is not going to knock this one down. I think right now that's 6 of 9 in terms of 1 pin spares for Plymouth Whitemarsh. PW in the first game was 8 of 13 on 1 pin spares. Here's Sarah Roshino. It's a 6 count. Jennifer Snyder on the double. Cannot get the gravy ready for the turkey. That's a split. And it appears to be the first split of game 2 for North Penn. North Penn, the first game, 1 of 4 on splits. Moschino can't knock them all. She'll get 3 of 4. 5 opens and a spare. Give her 63 and counting. Substituting for Brooklyn Hosses. Just 1 of 2 for Jennifer Snyder. Wilson. Okay, that's better. That's her first, not first ball gutter on the left lane this game. Katie Cook rolls the ball to the right side. If you notice solid color balls, they're usually house balls, meaning they're from the bowling alley. And if they're not solid, typically those are these bowlers' personal balls. If you have your own ball, you can control it better. And got it done. Destiny Wilson for 4th mark. Katie Cook looks solid, but leaves 1. Back-to-back open. Now 3 opens in a row. That is this frame. Frame 6 of game 2 for North Penn. It's 436 to 377 Lady Knights. 8 count for Alexander. Now here's Cox. That's her 4th strike in 5 frames. North Penn's 12th strike of the game. It's 456 to 385 now in the 6th frame. Alexander in the left lane to finish it up in the gutter. Got to slow it down. That's going to hurt her average. 142 average, had a 129 in the first game, and now the anchor leg. One coop on the right side and powder blue for North Penn. Looks like she's wearing leggings. National Newell would be on the left side for Plymouth Whitemarsh. And that's a 7 count. Or Jocelyn Wincook. She's a right-hander, used to seeing her roll with one hand. Newell. Averts disaster, would have had her 2nd split to deal with in the match. PW 6 of 9 on 1 pin spares, and 1 coop converts. 1 strike, a spare, 3 opens for North Penn. .483 for the Lady Knights. Newell, gotta hurry, and she gets it. So Newell, 4 spares, 2 strikes, no opens for 6 frames of game 2. Through 6 frames of game 2, North Penn 483, Plymouth Whitemarsh 404. North Penn leads the match 1-0. Cosgrave tells those pins who's boss. That's her 2nd strike of the game. Switzer. And got goalposts. The dreaded 7-10. And the professionals. You convert, you get a good amount of money. Imagine if you got it in high school. That could be your college scholarship. Now here's Roshino. He's got a few pins to deal with. The 2, 4, 5. Nothing there for Switzer. North Penn right now 0 for 2 on splits this game. PW has just 6 strikes in the game. Roshino now on her 2nd ball on the right side. Oh, she leaves the 5. And that's 6 opens. Meanwhile, on the left lane, Jennifer Snyder gets a 9 count. Now, Destiny Wilson on the right lane for PW. One of 4 bowlers from last season to qualify for regionals. That was the PW girls record. 4 bowlers to regionals. Oh, that's not going to do it for Snyder. Back-to-back opens for her. North Penn now has 13 opens in the game. Had 21 in the first game now. 500 to 437. Wilson will knock down 2. That's going to the right side for Cuck. That sets up a 1-7-8 situation. PW on back-to-back opens. Just 6 strikes in the game. Had 7 total in the first. Here's Alexander to the left side. PW not feeling comfortable in the match so far, besides Newell. And Cuck can't capitalize. That's 4 straight open frames for Katie Cook. She's at 79 through 7 in game 2. 507 to 442. Alexander, that 10 doesn't want to fall for her at all. That's her 3rd straight open. She's at 93 and counting.
All right, bring it in, girl.
Allison Cox having a solid effort right now. 164 first game. 132 right now. Dealing with the 5 and 9 pins. Ashley Newell trying to continue her solid match. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That's her 3rd strike of the game. Give her 128 and counting. On the other side, Allison Cox converts. PW had 2 strikes, no spares, and 3 opens. PW had 16 opens, 11 spares, and 7 strikes. Switzer starts frame 8 on the right side for North Penn with a 9 count.
Bring it in, Jocelyn.
Right now, North Penn, 4 of 6, or let me see here. Sorry, 3 and 6 on 1 pin spares, if I'm not mistaken. And that is an open for Switzer. Here's Wincoop for the final 3. And she only gets 2. That's her 2nd open. A 2-handed anchor with a 118 and counting through 7. 4 opens that frame for North Penn.
All right, Jocelyn, just come back with a double.
And then for Snyder with a 9 count. Here's Cosgrave. Will knock down 8. PW here, 7 of 10 on 1 pin spares. North Penn, I believe, 3 and 6 entering this one. Make that 4 of 7. And that is a 1 pin spare for Snyder. And I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. You're watching Suburban 1 American Girls Bowling on CITV. 562 to 484 before that spare for Cosgrave. And she has back-to-back marks for 116 and counting through 8. Cuck now with an 8 count, dealing with 4 straight open frames. Here's Washino. And she walks back knowing that she missed that, but got 8 to fall. And that's going into the left side for no additional pins. 5th straight open for Katie Cuck. So North Penn on 4 straight opens. Now Oshino. Beautiful. That's only her 2nd mark. PW with back-to-back spares. 570 to 498 North Penn before Cox. Doesn't hit the head pin. Rolling it a bit fast, 16.6 miles per hour. Gotta be careful not getting a speeding ticket. Wilson goes Jersey. And that's not how you usually get it done, but gets it done there. 2nd strike of the game for Wilson. Give her 89 and counting. Good spare for Allison Cox. Give her 152 and counting. Still in the 8th frame of game 2. 586, 508 North Penn. Lady Knights up 1 game to none. Alexander has 4 to go. Entering the season, it looked like PW had a solid shot at maybe getting a top 2 spot in the conference. Has had trouble throughout the season making marks. Wincoop is a master of making marks, but has an 8 count. Not sure how many two-handed bowlers there are in Suburban 1 American. Girls two-hander, that is. Alexander is robbed, gets 3 of 4. 4 straight open frames for her. That's 102 and counting. Alexander has PW's lone 200 game this season in conference play. Had to go really far right, and it twists back. Don Stanicki doesn't know how she does that. The head coach for North Penn. In the last 10 years, there haven't been that many coaches from then still coaching today. Stanicki and Blizzard are 2 of them. 2 have coached in the last 10 years. Newell leaves just 1. James Cardinal of North Penn had a 267 game on varsity, a 491 series, on track for his third 700 series of the conference season. So 3 spares that frame for North Penn and 2 opens. Newell has her first open of the game. She rushed it. Now that ruined the potential for possibly a 200. She's at 146 through 8. It's now 596 to 535. Lady Knights. As Annalise Switzer's on the 9th frame. Suburban 1 Sports is the Suburban 1 the Suburban 1 League's premier high school sports authority, providing athletes and fans the latest sports news, scores, and photos. Visit suburban1sports.com. Switzer quickly realized she was bowling on the wrong lane, and now on the correct lane. Rolls an 8. Cosgrave knocks down 9 for frame 9 in game 2. PW really needs to start picking it up. Got to get above 649. That's the average. Good pickup for Switzer. It's only her 3rd mark of the game. Of her 104 and counting. Cosgrave gets it. PW now 8 of 12. On 1 pin spares this game. We're 8 of 13, the Lady Colonials were in game 1. 5 count for Snyder. Boschino. Has to deal with a free 10, which is one of the more manageable splits. And only a couple pins for Snyder. 3 opens in the last 4 frames for Jennifer Snyder. 618 to 570 North Penn. Oshino gets both. Could make things interesting. Oh, is it going to hang in there? Turn back a little to the left side, but not enough to get both. She'll get the 10. UW now 0 for 3 in the match. In this game, that is. 1 for 8 in the match on split conversions. 9 count for Cuck. Four of 7, I think, right now. North Penn is on 1 pin spares. And that is a miss. Here's Destiny Wilson. Oh boy, goalposts. The dreaded 7-10. So it's a split 8. Cox is going to roll in the gutter. Shame for her because she had 7 straight marks. But if she gets a 10 count here, she'll pick up a spare. And she'll get 9. So 161. Entering the 10th, she had a 164 first game. Wilson will go for the 10. Oh, that doesn't even get it done. 105 for her. Entering the 10th at 636 to 587. North Penn. Win Coop on a 128 and counting on the left side. That 10 is not budging. North Penn has not had a strike since the 6th frame. Alexander can get 9. EW 8 of 12, I think. On 1 pin spares. Well, North Penn 0 for 2 this frame on 1 pin spares. And Alexander converts though. EW now 9 for 13. In the 9th frame, 654 to 597 North Penn, and then after this will be the bonus 10th frame where each bowler has a maximum of 3 balls. Newell would like to get a strike as she's off her first open of the game. 8 count there. Newell is a sophomore. The 3rd anchor in the last 3 years for PW. Last year was Nicole Esposito, who I believe is a freshman at the University of Scranton, if I'm not mistaken. Went to a PW match on January 9th against Abington, wearing a University of Scranton hoodie. 2 years ago was Francesca Schroeder-Colelli, who holds the all-time high series mark of 669. Newell back-to-back opens. Goodness. 155 for her. And it's 654 to 606. North Penn has not had a strike since the 6th frame. Meanwhile, Annalise Switzer begins her 10th frame of a 7. About 12 strike. 12 spares. And 21 opens for North Penn. Cosgrave looking at a 1 pin spare. Good spare pickup for Switzer. 121 entering her final roll of the game. Cosgrave would really like to get this. Fortunately, not where she wanted. Same as the first game, 153. That puts her at a 306 right now in the match. Final ball for Switzer here. 7 count, gets a high 5 from Don Stanicki, the head coach. That's a 128. Sarah Roshino on a 99 and counting. Good start for her 10th frame, her first strike on varsity today. 109. It's only the 9th strike of the game for PW. That's the 16th for the match. And now Oshino on her second ball. Meanwhile, Snyder got a strike on her first ball in the 10th frame. Yoshino at a 117. Good cross alley look. She'll have to deal with a split though. I believe it might be 4 of 9 right now on 1 pin spares for North Penn. And that is a miss there for Yoshino, finishing the game with 117. 2 of 3 converted there. Burr Snyder with a 166, putting her at a 327 series right now. Not bad after 2 games. She's averaging a little under 140. Meanwhile, Katie Cook gets 9 to fall. North Penn has missed its last 2 1-pin spares. Here's Wilson. Bang! Her 3rd strike of the game. BW at 652, above its 649 average for the 2nd straight game. North Penn at 706 though, and that's into the gutter. 9 open. I think that is 4 out of 10, really, on 1-pin spares. Wincoop has 2 1-pin spares. Cox and Snyder also have 1-pin spares. The second ball for Wilson on the left blade for PW. Gets 5. Cox, good ball. 7 will stand. She's at 170. That's above her first game of 164. And Cox's high game of the season was 176. So she could achieve a new season high in conference play with a spare and a few pins. Not what she wanted to do. Wilson only gets a pair. 122 after 133. That's only 5 out of 11 1-pin spares now for North Penn. And she'll have 1 more roll. Alexander's up first for PW on a 112. Got the 610. A pin below her game 1 score. All 10. Good finish. New season high in conference play, 181 for Allison Cox. I believe a free 45 right now for her. Good pickup for Alexander. PW has just 10 strikes in the game. North Penn at 14 X's. Here's Jocelyn Wincoop. Five out of 11 1-pin spares after 7 out of 12 in that category in game 1. Alexander will finish off with a 137 for her. It's 734 to 684 North Penn. That's actually a split, and that is a free 10 conversion. The second split conversion of the match for North Penn. So at 736 right now, had a 759 in the first. So Wincoop trying for 166 after 177 in the first. Ashley Newell here will try to put PW above 700 with a strike and good pinfall. Second ball. Her last ball actually is a split. And that'll be a 164 for Wincoop. North Penn will finish the second game at 744. Here's Newell. Oh, come on, 7. PW now at 693. If she gets to 7, she has a chance of putting PW above 700. North Penn's going to lead the match 2 games to none. But now PW doing well in upping its average, and PW just a team out from that second wild card. Haverhill Horsham falls from second to third, and Abington jumps to second. PW would assume the second wild card at the moment. Newell, though, right now thinking of helping her cause. It's a 694 for PW, 165 for her, trying to make it 175 to put her in the 360s range. Here's her last ball. And that will put PW at over 700. That's a 7 for a 172, and that will mean North Penn wins game 2, 744 to 701. It's a 2-game to none lead for North Penn. Stay tuned. Third and final game is coming up on CITV. Welcome back to North Penn versus PW Girls Bowling on CITV. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. Lauren Cosgrave just opened the first frame of game 3 with a strike, coming off 2 153 games. Sarah Roshino now on the left lane for PW in the first frame of our third and final game. After this game, we will tally up the scores, find out how many pins fell. It's a 9 count for Annalise Switzer. I do not believe there were any changes made from game 2 to 3. So North Penn won the first game 759 to 695. The Lady Knights also won game 2, but by a 744 to 701 count. PW's average going to be close to 650 at the moment. And that is going to be a miss there for Sarah Roshino, who had a 117 in game 2. Now here's Switzer picking up that spare right now. 1 for 1 on 1 pin spares. North Penn so far 12 of 23, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on 1 pin spares. Here's Destiny Wilson. Good start for her third game. 2 strikes and an open for PW. Looked like Jennifer Snyder rushed it. Meantime, the CITV YouTube channel is your online video source for sports, school board meetings, educational highlights, and more from the students, staff, and faculty of Colonial School District. Visit www.youtube.com and search Colonial Instructional Television. The next CSD school board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 17, 2019. 1 out of 3, it's an open for Snyder. Here's Nikki Alexander trying to exercise the demons from the first game. First 2 games. Gets a 9 count here. PW was 8 of 13 and 1 pin spares the first game. Got about 9 conversions or so in the second game on 1 pin spares. Well, now Alexander looking to give PW its first spare of game 3 of 3. No, it spins left. Meanwhile, Cuck picks up the 4-pin spare. Early in the first frame of game 3, it's Plymouth Whitemarsh 38, North Penn 28. North Penn up 2 games to none. I think right now 15-0-3 entering the game had been North Penn's count. And there's a 9 count for Newell. There's Allison Cox. Looks like some baby teeth are becoming loose but don't want to fall out. 8 count for her. PW 0 for 2 on 1 pin spares right now. But it's 1 for free, and it's 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens. And it's an open frame there for Cox. PW has 48 after 1 in game 3. So that means with the game 2 win, North Penn's now 32-6, PW 21-17, entering the day in 4th place. 48 teams in this conference had winning records entering the day. All 10. For Switzer to begin the second frame for North Penn in the powder blue. Not your typical North Penn of the past, but taking advantage of PW mistakes. Here's Jocelyn Wincoop, who has fared well against PW at times in her career. Cannot get the jersey strike for Snyder. North Penn 73, PW 48 in the second game, but already on the second bowler for North Penn in frame 2 of game 3. Wincoop to finish the first frame and gets the spare. No strikes, 3 spares, 2 opens. That is 1 for 1 on 1 pin spares. Now finishing off a Snyder, and she's going to have back-to-back opens. Now 1 for 2 is North Penn. On 1 pin spares. Lauren Cosgrave in lane 42, the right lane. 8 count after a strike. Now here's Katie Cuck. Gets a 7 count. Since this is already our second girls bowling edition of CITV Sports serving the winner, our next 2 bowling editions would be scheduled would be PW Varsity Boys. Now that is square, and it's back-to-back marks for Cosgrave. 1 of 3 for Cuck. Cosgrave has 30 and counting, so at a 336 right now. Ashley Newell needs a 140 or better to get a 500-plus series. It's another 1-pin spare opportunity, this time for PW with Loshino. 7 count on the left lane for Allison Cox with a 16-mile-per-hour. It's like some of these bowlers are going a little bit too fast. So again, the 2019 Eastern PA Regional Tournament scheduled March 1st and 2nd at 222 Dutch Lanes in Ephrata. Singles on the 1st of March and teams on the 2nd. And that is an open for Roshino. Suburban One American hasn't put a single girl into state since Kara Wireman in 2015. She went to Penridge. Back-to-back opens for Roshino. She's at 18. Cox got the spare. Meanwhile, Destiny Wilson's on the right lane wearing a compression sleeve on her right arm. She gets 7. PW had a much better match on January 9th against Abington. That was also on CITV. Abington at the time was in first place. PW's got 2 games. PW took the season series from Abington 5-3. Here's Wincoop. Wincoop will get 7. Wilson wants to get them all. Oh, good ball. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Back-to-back marks for her gives her 30 and counting. She's at 285 in the match. One Coop to clean it up. Leaves the 10. That's been the dreaded pin of the match. A strike for the spare and free opens for North Penn in the second. Alexander continuing the second frame in game free for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Right now it's 116 to 105. North Penn in game free. The Lady Knights lead 2 games to none. PW would like to pick up a game win here to gain a little ground in the standings and also improve its average. Good job for Alexander getting both. PW right now with 3 spares in this game. That's 19 and counting. PW behind by 9 in this third game. Now here's Ashley Newell. Going from the second to last diamond on the right side. Thank goodness for her, it's not a 7-10. As at this point, Plymouth Whitemarsh wants to even get one game win. Cannot have splits. And now, PW doesn't have any splits through 10 individual frames this game. Those are going to hang in there well. Newell with back-to-back spares. Give her 29 and counting through 2. It's 126 to 116 PW for 2 frames of game 3. Now the third frame of our final game. Cosgrave leaves the 10. PW had 4 spares and just an open that second frame. And only Switzer. At 137 and 128 the first 2 games. One of her teammates put something on her back. Possibly tape. Not a good time to play jokes. You got to be in game shape. Got to be in focus. 8 count for Switzer. Those are going to hang in there. Will knock the back pin. Her first open of the game. Give her 48 and counting. But she's laughing about it. Cosgrave a good start in the game. Strike spare. That's 48, 49 and counting. PW has a slight lead as Jennifer Snyder is looking for her first mark of game 3. 1, 2, and 4 pins to deal with on the right side and for the powder blue. Now Sarah Roshino will knock 7. And it's going to be 2 for her. So back-to-back-to-back opens for Snyder, give her 26. I believe when about 10 years or so ago, North Penn had a bowler by the name of Janine Whitburish. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. I think she was from Europe. Over the years, there have been players of all kinds and all nationalities. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken the nationalities for any bowlers. And that is an open frame for Oshino. It's a 1 count for Katie Cuck on the right side. Cannot get the rest. Boy, that's 4 straight open frames for North Penn. It's 154 to 151 PW in the middle of frame 3 and game 3. Here at Facenda Whitaker Lanes in East Norriton. Home for Plymouth Whitemarsh, Norristown, and LaSalle College High Schools. That is a 6 count for Wilson. Norristown used to be of Suburban 1 American. Third year in Pioneer Athletic Conference. Like Springford and Pottsgrove, PW faced Springford in the first ever match for the Rams this season. I believe Springford and PW might face off at Limerick Bowl later this month. I believe January 28th, 2019, if the circumstances permit. Second ball now for Wilson. They all fall down. Strike, spare for her. Give her 46 and counting for free. Switzer now Cox with the 8 count. No, that's only going to get none. That's 5 opens in a row. 170 to 167 PW. Alexander on a spare. She has the 1 and 3 pins. Two-handed Jocelyn Wincoop. We'll leave 1 pin. Just 1 strike so far this game for North Penn. Alexander picks up the pieces. 3 straight spares. 3 spares and 4 for PW. That's 4 spares in the last 5. Bowlers for PW. And this to conclude the third frame for North Penn. Yes, and that's 2 out of 3 spares for Wincoop. North Penn 2 of 3 on 1 pin spares. Newell now on back-to-back spares. Now North Penn. Just 1 mark that frame. 8 count for Newell. North Penn for 3 frames, 1 strike, 5 spares, 9 opens, 2 of 3 on 1 pin spares. PW in front 204 to 177. PW's average will appear to go up after game scores of 695 to 701. And that is a third spare in a row in the frame, and for Newell. Give her 47 counting for 3 frames of game 3. It's Plymouth Whitemarsh 206, North Penn 177. Lady Knights up 2 games to none. PW still has Hapero Horsham, a team ahead of the Lady Colonials. On the schedule, scheduled for Facenda Whitaker Lanes, so that's good news, and PW hopes to take at least 3 of 4 from the Hatters. The goal is to knock off Hapero Horsham from the top 2 so that PW would be in wild card position for Suburban 1 teams. Remember, the top 2 teams in both Suburban 1 American and Suburban 1 National qualify for regionals, and then the next 2 from both of those divisions combined are by pinfall. Right now, Abington has the number 1 wild card, and Tennant has 2, and Cosgrave gets 1 of 2 on PW's first split opportunity. Switzer gets a 9 open. That's 2 of 4 right now. We're North Penn on 1 pin spares. Moschino gets everything. That's her first strike of the game. Snyder's having a difficult start to her final set. Her 4th straight not strike. 33 and counting with a split 7. It's the 6-7-10 as Destiny Wilson's on the right lane for Plymouth Whitemarsh. And that's 2 out of 3 for Jennifer Snyder. Wilson looking to continue her mark streak in this game. She'll knock down 8, so a chance to be 4 for 4 on marks. She has 62 and counting. PW well ahead, 249 to 195 in the game, but trail 2 sets to none. And that's a 7 count for Cuck. If PW wishes to even get 2 games in the match, PW is going to have to win this game by about 100. With that, but leaving pins like that isn't going to help. First open frame for Wilson in this game. And that is another empty frame for Katie Cuck. Nikki Alexander. And she keeps wondering why the ball is not turning right to the middle. That is a 9 count for Allison Cox. North Penn 2 of 4 on 1 pin spares. Alexander, though, only gets 1 of 3. Job well done there for Allison Cox. Now this, North Penn. 6 spares, 1 strike, 12 opens. And we're in the 4th frame of game 3. PW up 265 to 212. Now Newell, or spare. Oh, come on, 10. Don't let the 10 pin be the bane of your season. When Cupo has the dreaded 6-7-10 split. When Coop needs a 159 for a 500 series. Had a stellar career. Oh, nice recovery for Newell. Newell is finally feeling it this season after a slow start. And that's just 1 of 3 there. 0 for 2 on split conversions. But now in the beginning of the 5th frame, it's all 10. Just the 2nd strike of the game for North Penn. That was Switzer, who has both. So that's 2 strikes, 6 spares, and about 13 opens. Meanwhile, here's Cosgrave. And that's a 7 count for Cosgrave. PW up 291 to 237 in the 5th frame. Jennifer Snyder, 3-10 split, and she is thinking, what's going on? Now PW just needs to continue taking advantage of North Penn's woes. PW had 4 spares in the 3rd frame. Had a strike and a spare in the 4th. And Cosgrave could not finish it off. 73 for 5 for Warren Cosgrave. Oh, that's a little nice ball. To try, though. Snyder is frustrated. She really wants to do better. Sarah Roshino gets 7. Sarah Roshino again did not bowl first game on varsity. She was in junior varsity as Brooklyn Haas's had a 92. Then she subbed in for Haas's, got a 117. 9 count for Katie Cook. Jennifer Snyder, 5 open frames for 5 in game number 3, 44 for her. Second for Roshino. Come on, no. Needed more speed and more twist. 4 opens and a strike for Sarah Roshino. Cook has a 2-pin opportunity and she makes the most of it with her second spare of the game. That's just the 7th spare for North Penn in this game. It's 3:05 to 2:56 PW, middle of frame 5 of game 3 of 3. The next edition of CITV Sports is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Girls basketball between Springfield Township and Plymouth Whitemarsh. Good strike there for Allison Cox. Meanwhile, an 8 count for Destiny Wilson. Right away, the week of January 21st, you have Martin Luther King Day, followed by final exams and 3 straight days of which we plan on bringing you editions of CITV Sports. Girls basketball on the 22nd, wrestling on the 23rd, and how about boys bowling against Norristown on the 24th, originally scheduled to be the boys anyway. And Wilson gets both. Much needed for her sake. Of her 73 and counting for 5, 315 to 284. Pending the Jocelyn Wincoop roll. And the two-hander stares it down. Gets both. So 3 spares, 2 opens for Jocelyn Wincoop. North Penn 2 strikes. And gets a pair of spares. And 1 open. Nikki Alexander, meanwhile, has a 7 count, 1, 2, and 7 pins. North Penn 2 of 4 on 1 pin spares. And it's a 7 and 2 for Alexander with back-to-back opens. Her average is going to fall unless she starts heating up in the 6th frame. We're in the anchor bowler for PW in frame 5 of game 3, Ashley Newell, sister of former Plymouth Whitemarsh varsity boy bowler Jake Newell, who graduated in 2018. Down the middle, gets 7. Jake Newell, the last PW varsity boy to get a 700 series. That has the last few, including a 745 at a Snowlower Invitational, which I think is a pin or 2 short of the high series mark by Chris Hammis, who graduated in 2010. Back to Newell, she has to deal with the 3, 6, and 10. Oh, come on. Yes, ma'am. 5 spares and 5 frames from Newell. Give her 83 and counting. There will be 2 spares, 3 opens. No strikes. For 5 frames in game 3, Plymouth Whitemarsh 341, North Penn 286. And Lee Switzer on the left side. Bang. Back-to-back jacks for Annalie Switzer. Give her 87 and counting through 6 of game 3. North Penn up 2-0. PW leading this game. Cosgrave gets an 8 count. Here's Snyder. Boy, Snyder after 161 and 166. Having tough luck in this game. Cosgrave only gets one. That's an open for her. That's 3 opens in a row after 3 marks to begin the game. 82 and counting for the PW leadoff. And that will be the first mark of game 3 for Snyder. Sarah Roshino now for PW on the right side. Has to deal with the dreaded 10. And that is a 8 count for Katie Cuck. Boy, PW really needs to win this game, even to lose 3-1. Could be the difference between making regionals and just missing out. As it appears right now, PW has to rely on pinfall average have a shot at making regionals for the first time ever. Into the gutter for Woshino. Should PW somehow make the Eastern PA Team regionals for March 1st, Jeff Blizzard might want to hold a bunch of practices for the Lady Colonials, because 2-2 Dutch lanes in Ephrata can be tricky at times if you come unprepared. So it's 3:59 to 3:32. PW, Cuck had 8 open. There's Allison Cox. Leaves the free pin. Entered with a free 45 for 2 games. Now here's Wilson. Come on. There you go. Second strike of the game for Destiny Wilson. Just PW's 4th. And that's 93 and counting for her. And 133 and 122 open frame for Cox, and PW now has got some breathing room, although Alexander on back-to-back opens. Cox is on 82 and counting. Jocelyn Wincoop will be on the left lane, the anchor for North Penn. Oh no. You don't want to let the door open for North Penn. Alexander had a couple of those. Had at least one earlier in this match. Had one to begin the match, actually. Wincoop is on a spare. And the 7 will remain. Now this, through 6 frames, North Penn has a total of 4 strikes. Alexander gets all 10. That is much needed on the spare. A 10-pin spare. So that's good for her. And it is helpful. 389 to 368. PW petting the roll by Wincoop to finish the 6th frame for North Penn in this 3rd game. Wincoop has back-to-back spares, still looking for that first X. North Penn had 2 spares and 2 opens. Here's Ashley Newell. Jersey strike! And she is 6 for 6 on marks this game. PW up 409 to 369, entering the 7th frame of Game 3. I'm Scott Sable David Weiss. And you're watching Girls Bowling on the CITV. Your home for Colonial School District educational programming. Switzer starts off the right side for North Penn in the powder blue with a 2 count. PW, 5 strikes, I believe 14 spares, and 12 opens. Lauren Cosgrave, though, trying to get her first mark since a 3rd frame spare. PW coming off a 3-1 win at Quakertown. Quakertown has just 6 wins this season, so that didn't settle well for Jeff Blizzard. Good 8-pin spare pickup for Switzer, who is on 3 straight marks now, 109 and counting. For the North Penn Lady Knights in the Lover Sports and Suburban 1 Continental. Come on left, yes. first mark since the third frame of this game for Lauren Cosgrave. In this third game, 7 frames, 92 and counting. Snyder on a spare. First strike for the 2-hole Jennifer Snyder in this game. Just the 5th X for North Penn. 419 to 411 PW. The gap is narrowing as North Penn all of a sudden is picking up the pieces. And it is possible to tie again. It would go down to 0.5 for each. What a job now for Katie Cook. Back-to-back strikes for Don Stanicki's squad. It's 427 to 421 PW. Zach Miller of lane 43 for PW is very frustrated, in case you're wondering why you're hearing stomping on the ground. Second ball here is in the gutter. Can't continue doing that. That's her third straight open. Now North Penn can take the lead here in the 7th frame of game 3. Leaves 1 pin. I believe North Penn might be 3 of 6 on 1 pin spares. Possibly. And that's going to be a 7 count for Wilson. Just the 4 pin. And that's going to be in there for a spare. 5 straight marks for North Penn. 92 and counting for Allison Cox. Give her now 3 spares. It's 4 of 7 on 1 pin. There's, if I'm not mistaken, got to check that. That is a good make for Destiny Wilson for 113 and counting. Win Coop. Did not hit the head pin. Alexander on the gutter spare. And right now Alexander's just losing grip. Of course, you can get tired when you're toward the end of the 3rd game, but you don't want to give out. It's 449 to 441 PW. Win Coop. Oh, that was too close for comfort. And it was too close because it went into the gutter. 5 open for Wincoop, 90 through 7, unlike her. Alexander, though, gets 8 on the 2nd ball. It's now 457, 441 PW. Yeah, North Penn, I think 4 of 7. On 1 pin spares. So in the 7th frame for North Penn, you had 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open. Now Ashley Newell. Double. And that makes her open 3 through 7, 123 and counting. It's 477 to 441. Plymouth Whitemarsh over North Penn. So we head to the 8th frame now. EW had 1 strike, 2 spares, and 2 opens. I think that's 6 strikes, 16 spares, and 14 opens. Cosgrave, meanwhile, will get a split 8, apparently. It's a 4-5. Not easy. Just a one-pin opportunity here for Annalise Switzer on the left lane for North Penn. Cosgrave, come on. Oh, so close from getting it. 109 counting for her through 8. 494 to 459. Plymouth Whitemarsh. And that is a one-pin make. Back-to-back spares for Switzer, 128 and counting. Through 8 for the North Penn leadoff. Sarah Roshino now in need of more marks. Oh, that was near danger. 4-7. Jennifer Snyder will wait for a junior varsity North Penn player to finish. An 8 count for Snyder. PW needs to win this game by 108 in order to have the match. And that is a spare conversion, knowing the second mark of game 3 for Sarah Roshino, 78 and counting for the PW2 hole. 504 to 76, PW over North Penn in frame 8 of game 3. That's not going to get it done for Snyder, who has only 2 marks in game 3. Wilson gets a 9 count. Trying to get her 4th straight frame with a mark. If she gets it here, that means in the 9th frame she'll already eclipse her total from game 1, 133. 7 count on the left side for North Penn's Katie Cuck, who's having her first full varsity match in conference play this season. Wilson will nip and tuck it. 4th straight mark for her. They have her 132 and counting. But that's only 2 of 3 for Cuck. She's at 94 and counting. Back-to-back open frames for North Penn bowlers. 4-hole time. We got Alexander for PW in the right lane and Allison Cox for North Penn in the left. Oh, good control there for the first strike of the game for Nikki Alexander. And following suit for North Penn getting a strike is Allison Cox. It's 533 to 514 PW. Ashley Newell is on back-to-back jacks. PW has 7 strikes in the game. North Penn also has 7. Here's Ashley Newell. Gobble, gobble. Good time to get a turkey. And it's 153 and counting for Newell, on track possibly for her first 200 of the season in conference play. 10 pin will stay for Wincoop. Annalise Switzer is going to begin her 9th frame on the right side. PW up 563 to 535. They have to win by at least 108 in order to have the match, as they're down 2 games to none. Oh, that just misses to the left. Back-to-back opens for Jocelyn Wincoop. I wonder down the road if changing from just bowling with one hand to 2 hand is going to cost her. It's a 6-3 for Switzer. It's 563 to 538. PW now in the 9th frame of game 3 of 3. So North Penn has 7 strikes, 13 spares, and 21 opens. PW had 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open in the 8th frame. Cosgrave deals with an 8. Snyder doesn't know what the deal is. PW entering this 9th frame, 8 strikes, 18 spares, 15 opens. PW up 571 to 547. Cosgrave, the only Lady Colonial in frame 8 to not get a mark. Oh, that's not going to get the 5. That's another open for her. That's her 5th open frame of game 3. Snyder is going to hold up for the spare. 100 and counting for Snyder. Sarah Roshino. That's a 7 count. Katie Cook is not going to hit down the middle. Right now it's 586 to 554 PW. If Hapo Horsham falls from 2nd to 3rd and Abington switches places, PW would move up to the 2nd Suburban 1 League wild card for regional qualifying. And that's a spare for Roshino. Back-to-back marks for her. Cook follows suit with a spare of her own. Give her 104 and counting. 589 to 558 Plymouth Whitemarsh over North Penn in the 3rd game, but the first 2 games belong to the Lady Knights. 759 to 695, 744 to 701. And Allison Cox gets a much-needed strike back-to-back jacks for her. Gives her 132 and counting. 164 and 181 were her first 2 games. Wilson on 4 straight marks. That is a doable 1-pin spare conversion opportunity. Already at 150 plus. Already higher than her first 2 games. Here's Wincoop. Knocks the win out of those pins. Back-to-back strikes for the Lady Knights. Right now, only 9 strikes for North Penn. 15 spares and 21 opens. 607 to 588 PW. Still a couple bowlers to go in the 9th frame, and that might be costly down the road. The 10th frame, and each bowler has a chance of getting 3 balls. It's a bonus frame. On the Suburban 1 Boys Varsity scoreboard, North Penn defeated PW 4 games to none, 29-39 to 25-64. Alexander, come on, Messenger. And that's the 5-pin. 109 and counting. Ashley Newell, 5 spares, 3 strikes. Her 3 strikes are in succession, trying to get her first clover of the match. And Alexander's going to knock it down. Back-to-back marks for her. In the background, you might be hearing PW assistant coach Katie Gare, a teacher at the Plymouth Meeting High School. Newell looking for 4 in a row. She doesn't get the strike, but she does avoid trouble. Lauren Cosgrave will be on the right side for her final frame. It's going to be the 10th frame. PW up 651 to 588. Remember, the coach would tell the players to not go until the anchor's done. You don't want to ruin the rhythm. Cosgrave gets a 9 count for her 10th for final frame of game 3. 660 to 588. Oh no. That might have been the ball that could have given PW potentially a 100 pin advantage at any point. Lauren Cosgrave, though, picks up the pieces and gets the spare. Here's Annalise Switzer for her 10th frame and gets 6. Right now, PW leads 661 to 594. If Newell would not have missed, PW right now could be up by 90. And PW entered this third game down 1,503 to 1,396. And now the bonus ball. Yes! Good frame. It's a 138 for Cosgrave to finish her match. 671 to 596. Meanwhile, Switzer finishes with an open frame for a 151 and a 416 series. Cosgrave had a 444 series. It's a split 7 for Jen Snyder. PW up 685 to 596. Snyder gets all 10. It's actually Roshino on the split. It's now 685 to 616 PW. Roshino will pick up 2. Roshino finishes with a 111. That's a 229, 228 on varsity. Second ball. Gets 7. PW right now has just 26 strikes in the match. Oh, that's trouble averted. Her heart was beating very hard. So 9 count for Wilson on the right lane. Snyder will get 2 of 3. Finishes the game with 129. Add that, and that will be a 456 series for Jen Snyder. 696 to 625 PW. That's going to be a 9 count.
Okay.
Hang on there. It's going to hang in there. Bonus ball time for Wilson. 697 to 643. PW would have made marks. Could be close to over 100 pins ahead. That's going to be a miss by Katie Cuck. Finishes with 122. That's a 347 series. Wilson right now at 415. Gets all 10, and that could be huge. 170 game. Nice bounce back after 133 and 122. That's a 425. Couple pins there for Allison Cox of North Penn. PW up 707 to 661. Alexander on strike and spare the last few frames. And boy, the pins are falling at the right time for the Lady Colonials. Strike number 11 in the game for PW. That's the 28th in the match. So 4 that she needs gets 3. That means Cox finishes with a 156. That is enough for a 501. Nice job by Cox. 7 count for Alexander on the second ball. 734 to 667. Alexander is now in the 400 range. Our first 2 games were 129 and 137. Wincoop gets the dreaded free 10. Wincoop right now at a 466. That is not where she usually bowls. Facenda's usually a lot better than that. Averaging 170.04. Average is going to dip. 734 to 663. That's going to do it. That is a split conversion, and Alexander follows suit. North Penn finishes with 16 spares and 25 opens. And now that will do it for Wincoop. 135. That means North Penn 693. PW's going to win the game, but by how much? North Penn's going to win the match. 3-1. Newell's first ball will get 9. Jocelyn Wincoop a 476. Newell needs to convert this. North Penn finishes with 2196. Good job for Newell. PW got 4 spares to finish with 24. Just one open frame here. 19 open frames. And here's the last ball. We'll finish with a 7. That will give her a 194, another season high. Alexander had a 141 for a 407. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, the final score of Game 3 is Plymouth Whitemarsh 754 to North Penn 693. So PW salvages a game. However, the Lady Colonials lose by a final count, not by much, 2,196 to 2150. So dropping the first 2 matches by a good amount, the first 2 games by a good amount, cost PW a chance to have the match. PW picks up a win, so that means North Penn wins 3-1, 2196 to 2150. That does it for another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. For more information regarding CITV programming, visit www.colonialsd.org/community/CITV.